So today we start the chapter the anatomy of digestive system. ठीक है, so आज ये हमारा lecture number 1 है. So let's start the digestive system. Okay, so as you can see the picture, we discuss it later. So first of all, digestive function, right? So what is digestive function? So before digestive function, we know what is digestion. So digestion, what is digestion? Digestion is a mechanical and biochemical process in which the complex food substance is converted into simple absorbable food with the help of enzyme and water. Okay, so in this digestive system, it has two processes like mechanical and biochemical. Mechanical, that means mastication or chewing, on biochemical is the enzymes, right? So as we know, the digestive function here written, the digestive system is the organ system, okay, that process the food, extract and nutrients from it and eliminate the residue. Okay, so it does this in 4 stages. So we have in 4 stages. First stage is ingestion, the second is digestion, and the third is absorption, and the fourth we have defecation, right? So these are the step we read that 4 step, right? So all digestive enzymes are the hydrolysis, as we know. So here, so and also know that water play important role in the metabolic process, right? So next we can talk about the process of digestion. Okay, so digestion involves these processes like we have motility, we have the secretion, and we have membrane transport. So so these are the three processes involved in the digestion. First is motility, second is secretion, and the third is membrane transport, right? Next we can talk about the stages. So as I say that we have 2 stages, right? So mechanical digestion and chemical digestion, right? So next we can talk about the structure of digestive system. Okay, so first of all is the anatomical subdivision. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the accessory digestive organs and the gastrointestinal tract digestive organ. Okay, so digestive tract to alimentary canal. Okay, this is the anatomical subdivision, and which leading to mouth to anus, and approximately it is 9 meter, right? And the accessory organs are also present, as I say earlier, that the glands like salivary gland and liver, gallbladder, pancreas. Okay, so here you can see the accessory digestive organ. Okay, so this one is the parotid salivary gland, and as you know that this is the teeth, tongue, and this is sublingual salivary gland. Or this one is the submandibular salivary gland. Okay, and this is also liver, gallbladder, pancreas. Okay, so these are the accessory digestive organs, right? So and here oral cavity, pharynx, okay, esophagus, stomach, large intestine, small intestine. So इसके बारे में हम डिटेल्स एक 1 by 1 हम आगे पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है? Next we can talk about the major layer. Okay, so write down the major layer of the digestive tract. Okay, so here we can talk about the major layers. Okay, so we have, as we know that we have 4 layers, right? So first of all is the serosa layer. First is the serosa layer, second is the muscularis layer, third is the submucosal layer, and fourth is the mucosal layer, right? So in muscularis layer we know the inner circular layer and outer longitudinal layer. As we know that outer is the longitudinal and inner in circular layer, right? And in submucosa, that is we have submucosal gland is present, right? Also present in some blood vessel and nerve, right? And the space between them is known as the lumen. Okay, the space is between them is the lumen, right? And the mucosa is the mucosal epithelium is also present in the lamina propria and muscularis mucosae. ठीक है, so ये हो गया मेजर लेयर, जो 4 मेन लेयर है, ठीक है? सेरोसा लेयर, मस्कुलरिस लेयर, सबम्यूकोसल लेयर एंड म्यूकोसल लेयर, राइट? Next we can talk about the innervation of the digestive tract. Okay, so enteric nervous system regulate the digestive tract motility, secretion and blood flow. Okay, so the enteric nervous system क्या करते हैं? एंटेरिक नर्वस सिस्टम हमारा रेगुलेट करता है डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट को, motility, secretion, and blood flow, right? So two nerve network make up this system. One is the submucosal plexus and other is the mind plexus. Okay, submucosal plexus यानी कि marginal plexus and orofacial plexus. Okay, so these are the two nerve networks make this system of the digestive tract, right? So and these two plexus are parasympathetic, right? So, and the next we can talk about the regulation of the digestive tract. What is the regulation? So, generally the motility and secretion, okay, the motility and the secretion of the digestive tract are controlled by neurohormone mechanism. Okay, controlled by generally neurohormone mechanism. So, here we present the neural, okay, and then hormonal and then paracrine. Okay, so these are the regulation of the digestive tract, right? Next we can talk about the buccal cavity or teeth, right? So this is the mouth, okay, the mouth. So in mouth we have present the cheeks and the lips, and we have tongue, teeth and palate, right? So palate, you know, that is of two types. One is the hard palate and another is the soft palate. So here you can see this is the upper lip, okay, this is the upper lip and this one is the lower lip, right? And this is the vestibule. Do you know what is vestibule? Do you know that? What is vestibule? Vestibule is the space between teeth and cheek, okay? So the space between teeth and cheek, and that space part is known as the vestibule, okay? So this one is the hard palate, okay, this is the hard palate and also present in the rugae, okay, palatal rugae, and this is the soft palate, okay, and this is uvula. Do you know what is uvula? Uvula is also a modified soft palate. Uvula is a modified soft palate, right? And this is the superior labial frenulum, okay, and this is the palatopharyngeal arch, and this is palatoglossial arch, this is palatine tonsil, and as you know, this is the tongue, lingual frenulum, okay, salivary duct orifice, right? And this is the sublingual part and this is the submandibular part. And अगर हम teeth के बात करें, so generally it is of we divide into three part, right? The upper part is known as crown, the middle part is known as the neck, and the lower part is known as the root, okay? So the upper part, यानी कि crown part, is present of odontoblast, okay? So in here the present of odontoblast cell, right? And here is the pulp cavity. This is the pulp cavity and enamel, right? Enamel. Do you know why enamel is the hardest substance of the body? Okay. So enamel is the hardest substance in the body, and dentin is also present. Okay, and the mid part is the neck part, right? And any root part is present of cementum, peridental ligament, root canal, apical foramen. So these are the part present in teeth. Okay, as we know. So this is all about the teeth part. Okay, the dentin, enamel. Do you know enamel? कुछ आइडिया है इनामल के बारे में? इनामल जो कि हमारा हार्डेस्ट सब्सटेंस ऑफ द बॉडी, राइट? एंड इसका जो ओरिजिन होता है, ओरिजिन क्या है? एक्टोडर्मल ओरिजिन, ओके? और इसको बनाता कौन है? फॉर्म बाय एमिलोब्लास्ट सेल, राइट? और इसका फंक्शन क्या होगा? व्हाट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ एनिमल? इज द प्रोटेक्शन, ओके? प्रोटेक्शन हेल्प्स इन द मास्टिकेशन ऑफ फूड, राइट? और ये जो पल्प कैविटी हमारा ओडोंटोब्लास्ट, आर्टेरी, वेन और लिम्फ वेसल के कनेक्शन से होता है पल्प कैविटी, ओके? सो यू कैन से हियर दैट पल्प कैविटी इज द फॉर्म ऑफ ओडोंटोब्लास्ट, आर्टेरीज, वेन, लिम्फ वेसल एंड आल्सो सम नर्व, ओके, राइट? ओके, देन नेक्स्ट इज डेंटिन, ओके? सर डेंटिन, उसका जो ओरिजिन होता है वो मेजोडर्मल होता है. व्हाट इज द ओरिजिन ऑफ डेंटिन? डेंटिन जो ओरिजिन होता है मेजोडर्मल होता है और फॉर्म बाय जनरली ऑफ ओडोंटोब्लास्ट सेल एंड इट इज द बोनी पार्ट ऑफ द टीथ, ओके? सो डेंटिन इज द बोनी पार्ट ऑफ द टीथ, ओके? और जो हमारा जो ह्यूमन टीथ जो अपर पार्ट होता है उसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? क्राउन कहते हैं, ओके? द अपर पार्ट ऑफ द टीथ इज नोन एज द क्राउन, राइट? and the middle part is neck and the lower part is root, right? So a term आपको पता होगा, fluorosis. Do you know what is fluorosis? Fluorosis is due to the excessive deposition of fluoride, and it is also the yellowish path occur the outer layer of the teeth, that is known as the fluorosis, right? Then next is the mastication or chewing, and also in teeth. Do you know the dental formula of adult? Okay, so what is the dental formula of adult? Is you know that 2 1 2 3 upon 2 1 2 3, or incisor, canine, premolar, molar. 4 types of teeth we have, right? So total we have 32 number, right? Next we can talk about the mastication or chewing. Okay, the chewing. So it is the first steps in mechanical digestion. Okay, so this is the first step in mechanical digestion, and it is involuntary chewing reflex, right? Then इसमें जो muscles involved होता है, muscles involved with tongue muscle, and then bossinator, then orbicularis oris, master, okay, temporalis, lateral and medial pterygoid muscle. Okay, so these are the muscles involved in the mastication or chewing, right? Next we can talk about the salivary gland. Okay, so what is the, do you know the salivary gland, about salivary gland? Okay, so we have two types, right? One is the intrinsic salivary gland and another is the extrinsic salivary gland. Okay, so the intrinsic salivary gland are the indefinite number of small glands disparate amount of other oral tissue, like we have lingual glands, labial glands, vocal glands. Okay, so we have lingual glands, labial glands, okay, vocal glands, or generally they secrete generally relatively small amount of saliva at a fairly constant rate whether we are eating or not, right? So saliva contains lingual lipase, okay, and lysozyme and severe to moisten the mouth and inhibit the bacterial growth, right? Next you have talk about the extrinsic salivary gland. So the extrinsic salivary gland is generally larger and more discrete organs located outside of the oral mucosa, and they communicate with the oral cavity by way of ducts. Okay, और जो एक्सट्रिंसिक सैलिवरी ग्लैंड होता है वो जनरली तीन टाइप में होता है. ओके, थ्री टाइप्स. व्हाट इज, वन इज द पेरोटल ग्लैंड, and another is the sublingual gland, and the last is submandibular gland, right? So this is the types: parotid, okay, then sublingual gland, and then submandibular gland, right? And this is the microscopic view of salivary gland. This is the micrographs. Okay, so the mid one is the parotid gland, and then the first is sublingual, and this is submandibular, right? Next we can talk about the salivation. Okay, so as you know, the extrinsic salivary gland generally secrete approximately 1.0 to 1.5 liter per day. Yes or no? Generally 1.0 to 1.5 liter per day. So cell of this acini filters water and electrolyte from the blood. So you can mark down here 1.0 to 1.5 liter per day. And the cell of the acini filter water and electrolytes from the blood capillaries and add the amylase, okay, mucin and lysozyme to it. So the duct slightly modified its electrolyte composition. Okay, so food stimulates taste receptor. Yes or no? Food stimulates the taste receptor to transmit the signals salivatory nuclei to the medulla oblongata and pons. Okay, so generally it transport the signals in the MO and pons. Okay, so also receive input from the higher brain center, right? So the salivatory nuclei send the signal to the gland. So here you can mark down that the medulla oblongata, the MO and the pons. Okay, so the salivary nuclei send signal to the gland by way of autonomic, okay, but the way of autonomic fiber via central nervous 7 and 9, right? So and this is the parasympathetic. If increase the salivation, then it is the parasympathetic. If decrease, अगर increase हो जाता है तो किस कंडीशन में? पैरासिम्पैथेटिक कंडीशन में. अगर डिक्रीज होता है, डिक्रीज किस कंडीशन में होता है? इन केस ऑफ सिंपैथेटिक, राइट? यस और नो? So the salivation decreases in the sympathetic condition, right? So whenever you rest, whenever you are sleeping, then this condition is the parasympathetic condition. That means increase the salivation. But whenever you running like in a race, then your saliva become decreases, and whenever it decreases, it activates the sympathetic condition. Okay, so the next is the esophagus. Okay, so we know the esophagus, the length is approximately 25 to 30 centimeter. Okay, the esophagus, the length is approximately 25 to 30 centimeter, the esophagus. But before esophagus, we are talk about the pharynx. Okay, so pharynx has a deep layer of skeletal muscle, right? So the pharynx, what is pharynx? Pharynx generally is a common passage of air and food. Yes or no? Pharynx is a common passage of air and food, and it is a voluntary muscle. ओके, और हमें ये भी पता है कि फेरिंग्स जो होता है वो 3 टाइप्स में डिवाइड होता है. क्या क्या होता है? नेजोफेरिंग्स होता है, ओरोफेरिंग्स होता है एंड लैरिंगोफेरिंग्स होता है. ठीक है, नेजोफेरिंग्स में यानी कि हम एयर ही लेते हैं, और ओरोफेरिंग्स में हम एयर भी लेते हैं और फूड भी लेते हैं. और इन केस ऑफ लैरिंगोफेरिंग्स हम ग्लोटिस में एयर लेते हैं और गॉलेट में फूड लेते हैं. सो जनरली इट्स फंक्शन ऑफ फेरिंग्स इज मैनेज द डिग्लूटिशन, राइट, द स्वेलिंग ऑफ द फ्लूइड. So in pharynx part, it is longitudinally and circular, right? ठीक है. So these are the constrictor. Okay, this is the superior, this is the middle part, and this is the inferior part. Okay. Okay. Then next we talk about the esophagus. So you know the esophagus, the length of a straight muscular tube which is 25 to 30 centimeter long. Can you imagine this? 25 to 30 centimeter is a huge long. It's a straight straight muscle. Okay, so most of it's in the mediastinum, right? Presence in the lower esophageal sphincter. So here I mark down it is of 20 to 30 centimeter long, and most of it in the mediastinum and present in the lower esophageal sphincter. So exam point of view, this is important for you, for your exam, for your question. This is important, right? So this is the MCQ type question. Then the mucosa and the submucosa layer. The mucosa, you know, the monokeratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, the mucosa layer, the tissue name is monokeratinized. Monokeratinized, that means single, right? Mono, that means, no, I'm sorry, here not monokeratinized, it's non-keratinized. I'm sorry, here non-keratinized, right? So non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, right? And in the submucosal layer it contains esophageal glands, right? So do you know the esophagus? I can see, you can see here, this is the esophagus, and the length is approximately 25 to 30 centimeter. Okay, so this is the diaphragm, and this is the stomach connected, and this is the sphincter known as the cardiac sphincter. As here you can see the lower esophageal sphincter. Okay, so lower esophageal sphincter, otherwise you can call it the cardiac sphincter, right? So next we can talk about the swelling, right? So swelling यानी कि deglutition. Swelling means the deglutition. So involves over 22 muscle. Whenever you swell something, whenever you swell your food, and you know that bolus. What is bolus? Bolus is the acidic enzyme plus food. Okay, यानी कि saliva plus your food is known as the bolus. Okay, whenever bolus is enter into the, whenever you swelling, right? So it involves generally 22 muscle, and is coordinated by the swelling center in nucleus, in the medulla oblongata and pons. Okay, as I said earlier that MO and pons इसके लिए responsible होता है और coordinated करता है. Okay, और जो central nerve 5, 7 and 9 and 12, these are mainly involved. Okay, Next is the swelling stages, the vocal stages and the pharyngeal esophageal stages. Okay. Uh, Next is we have peristalsis. Okay. So peristalsis is moderated partially by a short reflex through the meandric nerve plexus. Do you know what is the meaning of actually peristalsis? So peristalsis is generally the movement of food. Okay. So peristalsis is the movement of the food. So it uh, contract and push the food, right? Okay, understand? So peristalsis is the moderated partially by a short reflex. It is the reflex mechanism here work. Okay. So this is all about the swelling, right? So this is the part of the esophagus. Okay, and if I talk about the muscle of the esophagus is the superior one third part is the voluntary muscle. Voluntary muscle means skeletal muscle, or inferior to third part is the involuntary muscle, यानी कि smooth muscle. Yes or no? Yes. Then in esophagus, digestion and absorption both completely are absent. Okay, this is important for you that in esophagus part, digestion and absorption are both are completely absent. Okay, and the upper esophagus, serosa is present, but tunica, okay, but tunica albuzina is present. Okay, so this is all about the swelling part or the esophagus part. Okay, and next we can talk about the stomach. Okay, so stomach is generally it is a muscular sac. It is a muscular sac primarily as a food storage organ. ओके, और जो स्टोमक का जो शेप होता है मस्कुलर होता है और जे शेप होता है और स्टोर फूड फॉर 4 to 5 hours. ओके, और स्टोमक का पोजीशन क्या होता है? इट इज लोकेटेड in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity which have 4 major part. Okay, and you know also the major part, 4 major part, right? So one is the cardiac part, second is the fundus part, third is the body part, and the fourth is the pyloric part. Okay, and also I will say earlier that a sphincter is also present known as the cardiac sphincter. Okay, and the esophagus and the stomach is the starting part is known as the gastroesophageal sphincter or the cardiac sphincter, and the last part is in pylorus region a pyloric sphincter is present. Okay, and capacity when empty is we have 50 ml, and when extremely full it may be load up to 4 liter. Can you understand that 4 liter capacity is whenever it extremely full, right? And functions that you know earlier, the functions are the mechanically breaks of food particle. Okay, it break down the food particle and liquefy the food is also known as chyme. Okay, so you can remember this chyme. Okay, so begins the chemical digestion, protein and small amount of fat, right? So this is the stomach, right? Then next we can talk about the gross anatomy of the stomach, right? So the gross anatomy of stomach is generally the stomach is J-shaped, as I say earlier. So relative position with respect to height and lesser curvature and greater curvature. Okay, stomach is here J shape. Okay, next regions of the stomach. Okay, so what is the region? Okay, so as I say earlier that the region is the cardiac region, the fundic region, the body and the pyloric region. We have 4 regions, right? The cardiac region known as cardia, the fundic region known as fundus. Okay, this is the cardiac region, this is the fundus region. Okay, this is the the body or the corpus. Okay, and the last is the pylorus region. Okay, and we have funnel like antrum, and this is the narrow pyloric canal also present. Okay, so these are the gross anatomy of the stomach. Okay, then next we can talk about the stomach innervation and circulation. Okay, so it is autonomics. Yes or no? Autonomics. So whenever parasympathetic via vagus nerve. Okay, so which nerve? Via vagus nerve. So parasympathetic किस condition में होगा? Vagus nerve. And whenever sympathetic fibers from the cilia ganglia. Okay, so remember it. So remember this. Okay, then it is supplied with blood from branches of the celiac trunk. Okay, this is important for you. Then venous drainage is to hepatic portal circulation, right? So this is the inner vaginal circulation. Next we can talk about the stomach wall. So the tissue layer are similar to those of esophagus. The tissue layer are similar of those of esophagus with some variation. Okay, so like simple columnar glandular epithelium and mucin plus water that gives to mucus. Okay, so here you can see this picture, the stomach. Okay, this is the wall, presence of gastric folds or the rugae. Okay, this is the rugae. Okay, this one. Okay, this is the rugae, and presence of tubular glands. Also the tubular glands are also present, and the muscular is external, as I said earlier, three layer. ओके, आउटर क्या होगा, आउटर लंगिट्यूडिनल, मिडिल में क्या होगा, सर्कुलर होगा, और इनर में ऑब्लिक लेयर होगा. ओके, सो हियर यू कैन राइट कि आउटर लंगिट्यूडिनल और मिडिल सर्कुलर और इनर ऑब्लिक लेयर, राइट. So this is the gastric secretion. So here you can draw the figure, or you can see here, this is the lumen of stomach. This is the lumen, and these are the part of epithelium. Okay, this is the lamina propria. Okay, so these are the gastric secretion, how secretions occur. Okay, next we can talk about the major secretion of the gastric gland. Okay, so the major secretion is the mucous neck cell. secretion क्या करेगा, mucus. function क्या होगा, protects mucus from HCl and enzyme. Okay, the protects mucus from HCl and enzyme. And the next secretory cell is the parietal cell. So parietal cell में secretion क्या होगा, हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड. ओके, क्या होगा, हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड होगा. It activates pepsin and lingual lipase, which helps liquefies food, reduce dietary iron to usable from Fe2 plus. Alright, and the last and the third is we have chief cell. So chief cell is the intrinsic factor. Okay, the intrinsic factor enables small intestine to absorb vitamin B12. Next is pepsinogen. So pepsinogen is convert pepsin. Okay, pepsinogen to convert pepsin, which is a digest protein. Then chymosin. Chymosin is coagulates milk protein in infant stomach. Okay, not secreted in adult, it only secrete in infant. Okay, next is gastric lipase. Okay, so gastric lipase is the digest fat in infant stomach, not secreted in adult also. Okay, and the last is we have enteroendocrine cell. Okay, in enteroendocrine cell is gastric secretion. Okay, and the function is stimulates the gastric glands to secrete HCl and enzyme, and stimulates the intestinal motility, relax ileocecal valve. Okay, next we have serotonin. So in serotonin stimulates the gastric motility, and in histamine it stimulates the HCl secretion, and in somatostatin it inhibits the gastric secretion and motility, delay empty of stomach, inhibit secretion by pancreas, and inhibit gallbladder contraction and bile secretion, and reduce blood circulation and nutrient absorption in small intestine. Okay, right. So this is all about the major secretion of the gastric gland. Okay, next is vomiting. So vomiting is the triggering factor, right, by excessive stretching of the stomach. Whenever the stomach is excessive stretching, vomiting will be occur. It is a psychological stimulus. Okay, so chemical irritants and alcohol हो सकता है, bacterial toxins हो सकता है, ठीक है. And vomiting is not caused by contraction of the stomach itself, but by the diaphragm and abdominal muscle, right. And the amentric center of the medulla oblongata stimulates the lower esophageal sphincter to relax, while it stimulates the diaphragm and abdominal muscles to contract, right. And severe vomiting may expel even the content of the small intestine, right. Next is the protection of the stomach. Okay, so why does the stomach is not digest itself? The living stomach is why because the living stomach is protected by three ways from the harsh acidic and enzymatic environment. Okay, what is the protective? Then is the mucous coat. Okay, then epithelial cell replacement, right, and tight junction. So these are the protection. Okay, so here you can see that as I said earlier, the breakdown of these protective mechanism can result in inflammation and also in peptic ulcer. So here we complete the stomach part. So the next class, the second lecture, we study about the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, and many more, right? So here is the completed of a stomach part. So I hope you like this video. Okay, so thank you.